Welcome to the Sleazy Podcast, the podcast about anything and everything, but mostly TV and movies. And now it's time to get sleazy.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken and used for food.
You talk about extreme.
In Springfield.
That needs to be clipped. Talk about extreme.
Talk about extreme.
That's hilarious.
They're eating the dogs.
The dogs.
The dogs. All right. Welcome back to episode 192 of the world-renowned Sleazy Podcast. I'm your host, Sleazy, joined by my other host, Mr. PBS.
Howdy, howdy.
And the man, the legend, Robzilla.
Hello.
There we go.
Never gets old.
I saw the Godzilla, thing, and it just made me say Godzilla instead of Robzilla.
I understand.
It happens, especially when you just hit the button and go.
Especially when you're high.
I am not high, sir. Thank you very much. I've had a very nice, enjoyable
Smell
morning.
his breath, Robzilla. Smell his breath.
Is that sherbet?
Yeah. It's fruit punch, I swear.
Which flavor?
Fruit punch?
Yes.
Asshole. What flavor is fruit punch? I mean,
Red.
yeah, it's red.
Red.
Yeah, that's right.
Give me the red flavor, please.
That's exactly how you say it.
Oh, man. So what an interesting week we've had. Mm-hmm. There, as you just heard,
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs.
I saw it on TV.
They're eating the dogs, and I saw it on TV, people. That's all you need to know.
I think one of my favorites was they just did it like thought bubbles, like speaking bubbles, like in a comic.
Yeah.
And it's the scene from The Shining where they're driving up to the hotel, and little Danny talks about like the Donner Pass and cannibalism. Like, I saw it on TV, and Jack looks like he saw it on TV.
Because, we all know that everything you see on TV is, real.
So it's weird to hear the fake news president talk about, I saw it on TV.
Yeah. It's very strange. And, of course, now people are going to hang their hats on it. Like, well, it was on TV, so it's got to be real. Right? It's got to be real. But fake news, people. Fake news. People have been there, and they can't confirm what, the allegations were. The Haitians were eating cats and dogs. They're eating the animals.
I love my
The ducks, too.
All
The
these
geese.
Haitians,
The
nobody
geese.
knows where they come from.
Yeah. They let 20,000 people in Springfield. That is a large number to repopulate. But anyways, like I said, this is episode 192 of La Sleazy Podcast. And we're going to talk about some HorrorHound this episode. The recent untimely passing of James Earl Jones. Even though he's old, it's still untimely because we'd like to see people live as long as they can. Then we're going to talk about Chimp Crazy, which is on Max. And then from there, we're going to talk about Rebel Ridge. And we'll close the show out with our spoiler-free thoughts on Beetlejuice. And we'll probably do something similar where we give our spoiler-free thoughts, and then we will dismiss you if you haven't seen the movie, and we'll chit-chat about what we like best about it.
Yes, there are just a couple spoilery things.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I actually wanted to I want to play this too, because these are like my new favorite TikToks that I've come across, and they just make me laugh hilariously. Either you'll hate hearing this, or you'll be like me and you'll laugh nonstop at it. But let me get here, and then So this guy does an imitation of RFK Jr., and he makes up these like crazy stories about him and RFK. Like RFK is supposed to be his roommate or something.
If you're obese or
RFK's
overweight,
very
it's your
distinct
fault.
voice.
Shut the fuck up.
No.
No, I'm just kidding you.
If you're gonna say that, you got to say it in the RFK voice.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up.
He sounds like a
Yeah.
fucking.
By the
creature.
way, newsflash, guys, you can't hear us on the video feed when we play a video. So if you talk, you got to give me a sign so I can hit pause.
Okay.
But the board will record everything through, but the video that we get through StreamYard, for some reason, it makes it all muffled or whatever. Okay, so here we go.
If you're obese or overweight, it's your fault.
So what? The pelt's getting a little snug. That's not my fault.
It absolutely is your fault. Who else's fault would it be?
You said you wanted the pelt to be tighter on me. So I went about it my own way.
Well, okay, well, you didn't have to eat every single thing in the house.
Like, I feel like I've heard these insults before at some point.
Right.
A lot of that stuff that I brought home is survival food. You don't need to be putting it in there. Look at yourself. You're getting ridiculous. The floor is creaking every time you walk around.
The floors creak every time you walk around. Oh, shit. I'm sure you've heard that before, right?
I mean, it's getting obnoxious. The Greyhounds, if they showed up, they know exactly where you were because they think you're going to fall through the floor.
And you know, it's funny. You could just imagine RFK Jr. talking to somebody like this that has a weight problem. Okay, let's finish this out.
I mean, Jesus Christ, look at yourself. I can't even recommend you to become a grasshopper guardian because of your physique.
A grasshopper guardian. You've seen the video with him like catching the grasshopper, haven't you?
It was like in his house or something.
Yeah, he's like, look, a grasshopper.
I did ask somewhere that somebody says, like, you know, as soon as that video was over, he ate that thing.
Oh, yeah, he did. I mean, the guy's admitted to like picking up dead animals off the road and keeping the meat in a freezer because you don't want that meat to go bad. Like, dude, it's roadkill. Come on. I mean, maybe if it's the end of the world and we can't go out and buy hamburger, but...
And we could use all the people in the world to protect these zebra frogs, but here you are just stuffed in your face. And by the end of this week, that belt isn't even going to fit you anymore.
Oh, shit. That dude is criminally good at that imitation. Like, it is ridiculously on point. Oh, what is his name?
I didn't tell you everything in the house.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the Jesus Christ line was the one that got me. It's getting to be obnoxious. But if you guys want to watch more of that guy puts out like 3 or 4 videos a day of him talking to RFK. His name is Daddy Doinkles. So Doinkles after Daddy. And that's on TikTok. But man, that dude, like, we're all in tears just listening to that.
I tell you what,
Jesus Christ.
TikTok is my savior because I tell you what, you got a bad day, just watch some TikTok, man.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's either going to make your day worse or you're going to be,
It's 50-50 shot
yeah,
at this
complete mood swing after that.
It used to be 70-30, now it's 50-50.
Yeah. Oh man, I had to get us a laugh in, because we got to talk about somebody dying now.
Yeah.
But
Grim
yeah,
Reaper spun that wheel.
he did, man. The Grim Reaper he's undefeated, isn't he?
Bastard.
Except for Keith Richards.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
That's like his kryptonite, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so this one comes from Variety.com. James Earl Jones, distinguished actor and voice of Darth Vader, dies at 93. What a life. Look at that smile.
Like he was immortal.
Yeah. Just one of those all-time voices, man. Like, I don't think we'll ever have another, deep voice like that that's, so known through pop culture and movies and TV. Man, just such a phenomenal talent all around. But James Earl Jones, the prolific film and TV and theater actor whose Renaissance unmistakable baritone most widely known as the voice of Star Wars villain Darth Vader, died Monday morning at his home in Dutchess County, New York. His rep confirmed to Variety he was 93 years old. After overcoming a profound stutter as a child, Jones established himself as one of the pioneering black actors of his generation, amassing a bountiful and versatile career spanning over 60 years from his debut on Broadway in 1958 at the Court Theater. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a hell of a span for a career, man. Renamed the James Earl Jones Theater in 2022. Fucking cool, right?
That's awesome.
To his most recent performance in 2021's Coming to America. For that film, Jones reprised his role as King Jaffe from the 1988 Eddie Murphy comedy Coming to America. One of several roles along with Darth Vader that Jones revisited, including the voice of King Mufasa in Disney's animated feature The Lion King in 1994. In 1998 direct-to-video sequel and 2019 remake, and CIA Deputy Director Vice Admiral James Greer in 3 Jack Ryan movies. 1990's The Hunt for Red October, 92's Patriot Games, and 1994 Clear and Present Danger. Wow, what a hell of a career, man. Whew. Among his more than 80 film credits, Jones' other notable movies include as a B-52 bombardier in Stanley Kubrick's 1964 Cold War satire Dr. Strangelove, his feature film debut as the first black president of the United States in 1972's The Man, as the fearsome villain in 1982's Conan the Barbarian, as a reclusive author in 1989's Field of Dreams, as a blind former baseball star in 1993's The Sandlot. That was a great movie.
Great movie.
And as a minister living in South America in 1995's Cry, the Beloved Country. James was nominated for 4 Tony Awards and won 2 in 1969 for playing boxer Jack Johnson in The Great White Hope, which he reprised on film in 1970, receiving his only Oscar nomination. And in 1987 for originating the role of Troy Maxon in August Wilson's Pulitzer Prize-winning drama Fences. He was nominated for 8 Primetime Emmy Awards, winning twice in 1991 for supporting actor in the miniseries Heat Wave, about the 1965 Watts riots, and for lead actor in the drama series Gabriel's Fire, about a wrongfully imprisoned ex-cop who becomes a private detective. It was the first time an actor won 2 Emmys in the same year. He's a beast, wasn't he?
Great resume.
Just an absolute monster.
And if you don't even recognize his voice initially from like Star Wars, everybody knows him by Mufasa.
Yeah. I mean,
Everything the light touches.
He's one of those actors that really, he was able to cross generations of entertainment, and I mean, millions of people loved and cherished him.
Did one of you guys share like the Simpsons compilation? I think one of you guys might have shared it in the chat at some point.
Probably, maybe Sleazy would probably.
But like it showed some of his voice acting like early in the Simpsons, and sometimes I've forgotten about just quite how much he did.
Yeah, he did a lot, man. He did a lot.
And then I saw something where like he just did the alphabet. He did the ABCs for Sesame Street, like early in their run and all that. And a lot of people still remember kind of him that way. So,
yeah.
Even if you don't, like you said, even if you don't remember that face, you'll remember that voice.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what happens with Darth Vader, and if because I guess in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, he'd retired from doing that stuff, but he did give them some kind of rights to like use AI and old clips to make him sound like he was younger Darth Vader still or whatever from when he was younger. A lot of people are wondering if there's any more, if he signed rights to after he died to still use stuff like that. Some people are...
I'm sure he probably did.
Yeah.
Some people are, we talked about it during our last episode about using dead people's likeness and voices, and some people are dead set against it, and I think some people kind of want the nostalgia of maybe hearing them again sometimes. So see how that kind of turns out. I'm a little torn on the issue myself. Of course, I'd like to, the nostalgia wants you to keep them around. Like, oh yeah, if you do something with Darth Vader in a Star Wars movie again, sure, I'd love to hear his voice.
I mean, it's well known with that character as well. When you hear something, maybe something different, you're like, that's not the same.
Yeah.
You might even look at Darth Vader kind of differently, like that's not Darth Vader.
Yeah. So see how that plays out.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Common sense.
You okay there, RFK?
Yeah. I've told you, man. Yesterday when we were kind of making fun of the voice, I was like, we can't do this forever because eventually we'll start talking like him. I do feel bad for that guy. I did it again, but it is terrible, man. Anybody that has their voice taken away like that, but yeah, logically, when you think logically, you got to think. Disney probably offered him a bag before he went, and they were like, "Yeah, we're going to take your voice, dude."
Yeah.
Said the article toward the end said he had a son. I don't know if the son has a family or anything, but you'd think you'd want to leave him something like that.
Yeah.
That article does make me curious to check out some of his older roles because obviously, like that, pretty much all the ones they mentioned, like the bits you know him from Sandlot, the Jack Ryan movies, Conan, blah blah blah. So makes me want to kind of go back and go through the filmography a little bit.
All right. Time to move on, I guess.
Okay.
So Friday and Saturday, PBS and I went to HorrorHound Weekend. Not HorrorHound. HorrorHound. It's a horror movie convention. Now, there are some horrors there, I'll tell you that. But I think you can attest to that, too. I mean... There's a lot of
no comment.
Yeah, there's a lot of ladies there dressed very
provocatively.
Yeah, provocatively.
Scantily, maybe the word.
Listen, I'm not complaining about it. I enjoy it just as much as any red-blooded American male would, or any male at that for that fact, I guess. But yeah, we went to HorrorHound. They had a nice little lineup, and man, so. Yeah, this was Sharonville Convention Center is remodeled now. It's bigger. They added another hall onto it, and there's a ticket booth now that conventions can use to have their cashiers in there to scan tickets and stuff like that. But man, in the past, HorrorHound has been such a chaotic event that for a while I didn't even want to go.
Yeah,
didn't even want to go. There's just no room in that little building that they had it in, and it's bigger now, and this show was definitely very smooth. As smooth as I could ask for a convention, I guess, in some areas. I still think that they need to do a better job with posting times of when people are going to be signing at the tables. Listen, I don't want to download a map on my phone and, have to keep scanning the sign every time and looking up shit. But that's the thing I think I could recommend that they do is, maybe post times on the tables or out in front like other conventions do. They let you know when they're going to be at the table so you can plan your day out accordingly and go after other autographs too. But it was really busy Friday night. I mean, both the parking lots were really full. We ended up, both days we had to park down the street at a high school, which is, maybe 2 places down or something like that.
A block or two.
Yeah. So, I mean, it wasn't terrible. But man, I was wearing the F out when I came home yesterday, dude. I was hurting. I was like, I'm just taking the evening and relaxing. But it was just we walked all over the place. We stood in one line for 2 hours, which the headliners, I guess you could say, for HorrorHound this time was Robert Englund and Heather Langenkamp. Well, she wasn't really a headliner. They had her at the bottom, but I think that's a main draw. People were going for.
Right, there was quite a few Nightmare on Elm Street people. Then quite a few Abigail people.
Abigail, they had a lot of the cast from Abigail there.
A couple of Scream people, a couple of
it was a very well mixed show.
Kevin Smith, View Askew people.
Yeah, very well mixed show. So I was surprised, and it looked like everybody was doing good autograph wise. Aside from some of the older folks down in that, they put them in the vendor room, but. Photo ops seemed to be run pretty smoothly. the HorrorHound volunteers try their best to like cap lines, but then they get called away and people sneak into the lines. And, I understand why they cap them, because they don't want to give people false hope of staying in line for hours and not get an autograph. But like I said, you would think that there's a better way to do these autographs to get everybody in and out, I guess you could say. Make sure everybody gets what they want. Mm. But I got everything I wanted from this show. I mean, aside from the girl that played Lisa Frankenstein. Mm. But what's her name?
She wasn't giving you her number anyway.
Yeah, she wasn't.
Catherine Newton.
Yeah.
Catherine.
I knew the last name is Newton.
Yeah, her line was just filled with like all kinds of hot chicks dressed like Lisa Frankenstein. Right. So it was a sight to see.
Yeah, I said it when we did our Lisa Frankenstein mini review or whatever last time. But I think that movie is going to be one that kind of catches people and kind of like becomes a cult classic.
Yeah,
and you could tell from the costumes that quite a few people were into that. They did the couples costumes or whatever.
The writing's on the wall for it to be a cult classic all the way. So I met what is Andy? Help me pronounce her last name. Matichek from the last Halloween trilogy. She plays the granddaughter of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Like, hi Andy, it's me, Sleazy.
Yeah, and it's funny. We walked right up Friday and got her. There was nobody in line. Really? Well, there was one dude ahead of us, and this dude would not shut the hell up. He kept talking to her about things, and I got to give her credit. She really sold like she was interested in talking to him, but after a while, you could tell she was kind of like looking away, like, hey, dude, I've got other people here. You need to get the hell out of the line. But that's the thing. Some people really abuse their time.
Yeah.
You got to be observant that there are other people behind you, and they have just as much of a right to have their moment with that celebrity, I guess you could say. And I got nothing against you having a nice conversation with them, but when you keep adding on to your conversation and not leaving, that's when it's a problem. And yeah, this dude, eventually he got the clue, like, okay, she's done with me. I need to leave. But I thought she was a little high priced for, obviously that's what she's known for. And I think that might have hurt her a little bit, but because she didn't really have a whole lot of people there Friday from what we saw. Both times we were in the ballroom where they had the big celebrities. And then Saturday we were there. She had a little bit of a line, but it wasn't anywhere near like the other people that were in there. So hopefully she cleaned up on Sunday today. And, or maybe she did a lot of photo ops. I don't know. But she was actually, you remember what it was? Was she 60 just for her autograph?
I think she was 50 and 50.
50 and 50, and if you did the combo, it was 90.
So you got $10 off.
Yeah, right.
A little like 80. It's not terribly overpriced or anything, but definitely on the higher side for a kind of like a non-headliner kind of person.
Right. And
we never even looked to see. Well, to get Robert Englund's, you had to do VIP, right?
Yeah. So
was the autograph included in whatever that VIP price was?
I'm not sure. I don't know the details 100%, but I know he was only signing for VIPs, and then they had time slots too.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you had to sign up for it or something like that, and then you got a time slot. Yeah. But that was a mess too, because we got in. We probably walked in 20 minutes late to the convention.
20, maybe 30.
So
11:30 maybe.
But it was nice. We didn't have to wait in line because we had a weekend pass. So we just walked in the front door. Instead of the side door where you have to normally come in and get scanned, just showed them our wristbands and they let us in.
There wasn't even too much of a line, I don't think, around that either. That was kind of surprising.
It looked like they kind of cleared the line out pretty good.
I feel like
normally there's a line all the way out to the parking lot. Yeah. I showed him the last time we went where we got in line. It was like 2 miles back.
It was almost into the street at that point, curved all the way around like a snake.
Off of a deep parking lot. I mean, it was insane. I felt like I was standing in line to see President Barack Obama speak again.
Well, when we went, they had all the screen people there, so that's what a big sell was.
Nev Campbell.
Yeah, Nev Campbell.
And both of the killers. Yeah. So
Skull Ridge, Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
And of course, Jamie Kennedy.
Do we really need to say spoiler alert for a 30-year-old movie?
Yes.
But anyways, I got a little bit of pictures on here. Nothing of the show in particular. just some of the goodies that we got and the experience we got. But here's my autograph from Andy. She was super cool. I got to say, she was very personable. She sat down, shook my hand. I was kind of surprised by that because I don't offer to shake their hands because I don't want them to feel like they're obligated to do it. Because I know some people are really germ phobes, and I get it, even though they give you hand sanitizer for each table.
Not me. I'm going for the handshake.
Yeah, like I could tell, like Jason Lee didn't seem very, like he would shake your hand if you offered it, but I just gave him a fist bump, So, I mean, that's totally acceptable. But anyway, she was really cool. She some people don't even ask who your name is. And she was like, so who do you want this made out to? And I was like, I guess you could make it out to Sleazy. And she was like, what? And I was like, well, it's a nickname. She goes, oh, yeah, I know that, of course. But yeah. And I'm like, well, don't act so surprised. But
what is your Christian name?
Yeah. I'm not telling you that, ma'am.
Is that your government name?
But, yeah, so she gave me a nice little autograph. I was really debating because she didn't have a lot of good pictures, I thought. Did you notice any when you were there? It was down to this one and another one where she was holding a shotgun in like the hospital or whatever. But I ended up going with this one because I asked PBS. I said, what looks good? And he was like, this one.
There was one other photograph that was kind of nice, but I still think this was kind of like the coolest one.
Yeah, this to me was kind of the more significant one. And obviously that's her from the first movie. Maybe second too, because the second one picks up right where the first one ends, right?
Yeah, probably the first one. But I always like a little photograph where it's a little off center because it gives them that space.
The space to write something nice,
big enough letters,
And but anyway, she asked me, "Who do you want it made out to?" And I said, "You can make it out to Sleazy." And normally, I don't get shit personalized unless I just feel like they're not going to be super successful. I guess you could say, like, obviously, I want to be able to pass something down to my loved ones. And what are they going to do with a bunch of pictures that say "too sleazy"? But sometimes it's fun and it offers up a nice conversation. And it did offer up a nice conversation. She wanted to know the origin of Sleazy. And so I had to tell it as quickly as I could. And then I did a photo op with her, which we'll get to that. Okay, so we got to go back. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be that famous. Why don't you just call her obese too, Robert?
No, I did not say that. But
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
I'm trying to figure out who that sounds like. I think it sounds like Brack from Space Ghost.
Yeah.
The Manus.
There you go. Yeah.
It's taken me all this time to figure out, like, what does that sound like?
But so this was us. We met Heather Langenkamp and Robert Englund, and we had a strategy going in. We were like, let's just do the photo op on Friday, and because even though those go very quickly, if you have to do it when you're trying to get autographs the next day, it's kind of like a hinder in your autograph time because you got to try to. You're at the mercy of how fast somebody signs and whether they're gonna even get the autograph. Waste your time waiting in line.
Got to leave, come back.
Yeah. So it just made more sense to go after the photo op on Friday and then Saturday just get what you want Saturday all day, and that's what we did, and it worked out pretty good. I ended up wearing some shades just because I was telling PBS every time I get these photo ops, the flash, the glare hits my glasses and you can't see my eyes anyway. So what difference does it make? But super cool. The line moves uber fast through photo ops, and Robert Englund and Heather were very welcoming, very personable. And you can tell they don't want them to be personable, but they really did take their time to greet you and then, say goodbye to you, I guess you could say. But when we were waiting in line, there was a handicap lady with her boyfriend, and they went in first, and they were trying to get them lined up for the photo, and she backed up onto Robert Englund's
way up
foot. He was like, whoa, stop, go forward.
I'm sure she was embarrassed, but it'd be a funny story for her.
Yeah, it definitely would be. But yeah, so
you can tell they've just done this a lot. It's just they got it, like the vibe and the attitude about it, and like they know how to take the pictures and all that.
Oh yeah, they're familiar with the system, and it's not they're not exactly like some people where they don't want to be there. It seems like they really enjoy it, and they're grateful that people still enjoy the work that they put in.
Yeah.
But there's Andy Manichak, and she was cool, man. She had a nice little dress on, and like I said, very personable, and we had a good little laugh there, even though you probably can't tell. But PBS snapped the photo. He was like, I think I got it. And he was very kind and let me have my time with her, I guess you could say.
Yeah, 'cause she was cool, you know.
Yeah, she definitely was. I was surprised. I thought she would be, kind of not wanting to be there or whatever. But no, she seemed to be very cool. And like, I walked up and I was like, hey, thanks for coming. And I think she was relieved that there was more than one person at her table, I guess you could say. So I don't know if she was just like not expecting anybody to get her autograph or something, but she was like, thank you for coming here. I'm like, okay, no problem,
Is it bearable, Sleazy?
I think she was surprised that I said thank you as many times as I did. So
I think, we talked about it, like when we go to these shows, she's an attractive young woman.
Yeah, she doesn't need to be there.
I think she's just happy when people maybe turn out to not be weirdos.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time, like you're in these places, and like you said, I mean, some women are walking around, kind of hanging out a little bit, and you're always trying to be respectful and not,
It looks
whether it's a celebrity or just a person there, you're trying to be
like if you were just somebody that wasn't into horror or didn't know the genre and the culture behind it with the fans, and you go to a convention like this, you would be like, these women just don't respect themselves or something of that nature. Like, I could see where somebody that was pompous thinking that, but so. I get what you're saying. She was probably relieved that somebody wasn't like, oh my God, will you marry me? And all this other stuff. But, it was just cool. And we had a nice little chat. And I was kind of surprised how, she made it a point to kind of ask you about stuff about yourself, I guess, even though a lot of people do that nowadays. But she was cool. And for somebody that probably doesn't need to be there, she was definitely cool,
I think it's always nice when they're cool like that, and
very personable, very down to earth. Just a genuinely, you got genuinely good vibes off of her, and she was cool. Would I go see her again? No, unless I'm trying to get like a Halloween 2020 poster signed by like the whole cast or something like that,
or like a photo op and have most of the people there.
Something like that. But I got the autograph I wanted, and I'm gonna probably after the show, I'll probably swing down to a store and look for a frame. So, okay. Here's Heather Langenkamp signing our autographs. And if you can't notice, I put her up on the table for us today. This was Kevin Durant, not to be mistaken by Kevin Durant, but you might know him from The Strain and Abigail. I'm a fan of him from The Strain, so I had him sign a Strain 8x10 that he had, the rat catcher. And dude, I wasn't 100% sure that I wanted to get his autograph. And, I was like, oh, I could save some money or whatever. And where we were at in Heather Langenkamp's line for like an hour, we were literally, what would you say? Like
right behind where that picture's taken?
10 feet from him. Like we're literally like right where this little HorrorHound volunteer is or person. But super cool dude. I just, I watched him interact with all the fans, and I was like, if I got time, I'm going to meet him.
He didn't have like a huge line at any time,
but he was
had a
steady.
steady line.
Yeah, he was steady.
And he stopped and talked to everybody. Everybody talked to him. And
yeah, and the combo, he was what, 60?
He was 60.
He was 60 for the autograph, but if you did the combo with the selfie, it was 80. So, I mean, why not? Wouldn't you take advantage of that? But he was super cool, and like when I walked up, he was like, "Is that a marijuana leaf on your head?" And I'm like, "No, brother, you're in Ohio. That's a Buckeye leaf." And I had to explain to him, I'm like, "It's an Ohio State hat." But he was like so like shocked by it. He was like, "That looks like a marijuana leaf." I'm like, "Well, it's not. It's a Buckeye leaf, sir." But he was really cool, joked around. I totally forgot, but I was going to be like, dude, you are a big motherfucker.
He was.
Yeah.
He was tall as fuck. I mean, look, dude, I'm 6 foot, and he's got a whole nother head on me.
He's probably, 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, something like that.
I know he's a big dude.
He's not just, like, tall.
He's
fucking built, dude. He's huge.
Well, even, like, in Walking Tall, like, he's massive in that.
Yeah. I mean, the dude is a monster, just simply put.
He's taking pictures with, like, whole families and, like, short people, and that's a selfie. He's got like his arm reached like out,
yeah, and his arms like the size of from my hip down to my feet. I mean, it's like a huge like limb coming out.
Look at that wingspan.
Yeah, but he was super cool. He joked around with everybody, and he made you feel very appreciative. You know, I mean, he genuinely appreciated everybody that came through his line. And he took his time with you, gave you a hug and a handshake, and, you know, gave you the little, you know, thank you for coming. And he was awesome, dude. Like, there's always that one person that makes a show for you, either makes or breaks a show. We'll just say that. But he definitely made the show. So
he really, like I said, he took his time with everybody. He seemed, you know, like I said, this is basically kind of free money in a way. All they got to do is kind of chat with you for a little bit, and you either get there, you know.
And it's all cash, too. All these autographs are all cash.
You know, and he legit seemed like he was just happy to be there. And
here's my autograph I got by him. It was nice. And he took pride in it, too.
Yeah.
So he was like thinking about which color should I sign this in and blah, 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 blah. Looking back, I wish he would have signed it in like a red. It'd be nice if they had like a red metallic one. That'd be cool. But the silver was fine. And I'm definitely, I don't think I'm going to put that in my autograph book. I think I'm going to frame it up.
That would be a cool frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a cool dude.
Then there's so here's the deal with Heather Langenkamp. She was very affordable for her autographs. She was 60, and that included a selfie.
Oh wow!
With it. Yeah,
that's a bargain.
I think that was like her bottom price. Her prices did go up from there.
Yeah, to sign like Funko. Well, if you had another item, it was an extra $20. Which
Still.
I never understood that. Like, we were trying to talk about that yesterday and figure out, you know, like, why is there a premium to sign Funko Pops and stuff like that? And PBS was like, well, maybe it's because they assume you're going to be selling it or something like that. Maybe it's, you know, factored into labor. It takes them so long to look at it and hold it up and then sign it. I don't know. I don't know the reason behind that. But she was cool. She was very down to earth, and you could just tell she enjoys going to these conventions and meeting people. And you know, I wanted to ask her, like, did you ever think, you know, you'd be this old in life and still be doing stuff like this and still be enjoying the praise of people enjoying your work and stuff like that? But, you know, when you get up to the table, you get a little starstruck at times, and you kind of forget what you want to say. But she was very nice, and it's funny. She was like, who do you want this made out to? And I was like, sweetie, I just want your signature on it. That's how much I value your work. I said the same thing to Kevin Durant, and I was, you know, I always tell him, I'm like, you know, when my time comes when I'm not here, I want somebody else to enjoy these as much as I did. So.
It took everything in me not to be like, that might be sooner than later.
Yeah.
Like, he might not be around much longer.
It's getting obnoxious.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. But she was really cool, and like they had a volunteer. This volunteer was working her ass off that had the line for Heather. She would, if you were next in line to get your autograph, as soon as the person was done, she would come and get your phone. And while you were getting your autograph, she took like hundreds of pictures, dude. It was ridiculous.
Snapping away.
Yeah, she loved it too. And I got to talk to her for a little bit while you were getting yours, and she was so frustrated because your camera wasn't quick. And I was like, oh man, I almost gave her my camera to take it.
I was going to tell her if it kept acting up, just take his.
Yeah.
He about threw it.
But yeah, man, I'm just so glad I got to meet my favorite final girl.
I mean, she was, like you said, I mean, she was a pro. She took her time. She was, you know, very nice. You could tell she's been doing this before and for a long time.
And my God, does she look phenomenal for her age? And I mean, all the work she's put in and, you know, stuff like that. She looks great for her age. That's all I got to say about that. But
I still want to be your boyfriend, Nancy.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So there's a picture that one of the ladies snapped there. That she was having a ball just taking pictures of everybody. You could tell. But yeah, look at all these markers there. Heather was prepared. She had that Nancy energy. She was ready for any situation that might arise. Then this is my autograph from Jason Lee. I went with Mallrats. That's what I love him from. You know, he's Brody. I mean, come on. Who doesn't like Mallrats, right? And then there's Michael Rooker on there. So if I ever decide to meet Michael Rooker again, I could just have him sign that too. There is Mr. BBS's autograph, and you know, he was looking hard at the table, and I pointed this picture out, and I was like, dude, that's you all the way. Like, when you talk about Nightmare on Elm Street, you talk about this scene every time, first time.
Yeah. No, she had a couple of good ones I really liked, but She was, like I said, I like the poster for the Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's like a cartoon of her almost. It's not an actual picture of her, so I wanted to get one that definitely had her on it, and I like that one. I like the color. Everything's real nice.
There you can see her signature there, though. But man, she's just got a really nice signature, and she was really cool too. Okay,
I got the handshake from Nancy.
Did you? Well, I got like a little half hug. So
He's like,
she shook my hand when I walked up, but there's PBS with Kyle. I cropped it out so you can't see the massive boner that he has.
Right.
He's got the.
It was touching the ceiling. Yeah,
I was hanging Freddie's hat off of it.
Yeah, definitely was. He was excited, and it's funny. You weren't going to get her autograph, and you're like, "Well, I've waited in line with you all this time. I got to get it now." And I'm like, "Dude, you cannot. If you're a Freddie fan, you can't leave here without getting her autograph."
I was like, "What the hell? $60? Not."
Yeah.
Wasn't going to break the bank or anything.
And this is Mr. PBS putting that country boy charm on her. He made her laugh.
Every time.
He made her laugh. I was like, wow.
He's like, you want to get some chocolate milk and watch black and white movies?
Yeah.
Every time.
I can make bacon and pancakes for you. Does that sound romantic? And we can never leave the house.
She's like, I got to leave now. Let's go.
Yeah, I think that's what he told her. He was like, I only eat burgers with salt on them and chicken fingers and fries. And she was like, ha, ha, ha. Not going to go home with you. There's another picture of me and Kevin Durant. All right. Oh, look, I didn't even notice our chat was up here. I don't know why it is. Oh. Yeah, why is that? Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is the autograph I got. I wanted to... Huh?
I like that picture.
I love this picture. Like, when I think of, Nightmare on Elm Street, like, I don't know if I'd say like advertisements or something of that nature. I always think of this photo, and like that's the photo where I'm like, man, Nancy looks so fucking hot in this picture. And I'm like, I wanted to get an 11x17 of this, but nobody had it down there. And the closest we came was a artist had a print that he drew of this picture, and
it was mostly good.
Mostly good until you got to Nancy. And Nancy looked like she was retarded. Like, seriously, she looked like she had Down syndrome.
She kind of looked like Jason Voorhees.
Yeah. It was bad, dude. And I wanted to stop.
Part one.
We walked past it several times through the 2 days we were there. And every time it was like killing me not to stop and say, bro, you got to pull this print. It's ugly. It does not look like Heather.
You got to fix this, brother.
Yeah.
Just touch it up a little bit. Just touch it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there was just something about it. It just didn't look like her. And it was bad, dude. It looked almost like the Toxic Avenger with a wig on.
Where's the mop at?
Yeah. So, but HorrorHound was really fun. And normally I don't say that. Normally I'm like, I couldn't wait to get the fuck out of there. And
almost every time, just how bad it is.
Yeah. But I mean, I got to give them credit where credit's due. They're improving. They're getting better every time. And I still think that they've outgrown that building. Like you could tell, like they could fill the convention center in Columbus and put on a big HorrorHound show. Why they haven't done it? Yeah, why they haven't done it? Is it a money issue? I've heard that there's some, they have a contract for like 7 years or something like that with Sharonville. So I don't know. But, I mean, if they ever listen to this, my advice to them would be just take the risk and go to the convention center in Columbus. It's going to pay off. You've already made your name for yourself. You've proven you can put these shows on successfully. Go do the bigger venue and blow it the F up, I mean, but yeah, super fun time. I really enjoyed everybody that I met. Jason Lee was cool. He had a thing where he was signing my autograph and the Sharpie wasn't up to his standards, and he fucking balled it up and threw it at his assistant. He's like, give me another photo. And
so this Sharpie's taking a shit. Give me another.
Yeah. And I was like, man, that's top-notch service here. He was like, we are professionals here. But yeah, so if you're ever interested in, HorrorHound or I can't speak to any other horror conventions, but they are a fun time. Go and meet some people that you enjoy in films and get an experience with them. and go home with something that's going to make you happy, and eventually you can pass down to somebody else, right? Mr. Kyle?
No. Nobody wants any of that
It's
stuff.
mine. They're gonna be buried with them.
Yeah, Kyle's like, you're going to have to throw all my shit away.
I put it in my casket. Take your pick.
Yeah. Just put me in the storage unit when I go.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs.
The dogs.
All right, so we're going to move on to Chimp Crazy. And
It's shit.
this was quite a documentary, a little documentary series. I mean, so this lady has like I don't know what you would call it, like a compound full of gorillas that she used.
Chimpanzees.
Yeah, or chimpanzees, sorry. And she was, she used them for Hollywood pretty much. She trained them, didn't she? And
Yeah.
they were in films and stuff like that.
Circus, that stuff too.
But so in comes this other lady that ends up becoming kind of like a caretaker and helping her out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But just this lady has to be the dumbest bitch I think I've ever seen before.
Don't disrespect Tanya that way.
Tanya was a dumb bitch.
Yeah, she was. Too much injection filler. Scrabbled her fucking brain.
Right? I mean, that lady was just off the hook, man. I'm going to try to find it real quick here. Chimp Crazy. See, is it on IMDb?
It should be on.
Or not IMDb, but Letterboxd?
Yeah, it's on Letterboxd.
Okay.
I rated it. That's why.
What'd you rate it at?
I gave it a 4 because it was crazy. Usually
Yeah.
with any kind of documentaries, I always do just 3 typically, but that one was kind of wild.
I'll go 3.5 on it. And so the director of this, Rob, what did he do before? Do you remember?
Tiger King.
Tiger King.
Eric Good.
Yes. So if you're a fan of that documentary that, you probably never financially recovered from after watching, you'll definitely like Chimp Crazy. But I mean, I guess that guy's like an animal rights person.
Yeah.
And he kind of specifically goes after people that, farm these animals and have too many of them. But so here we go. This is so former nurse turned exotic animal broker Tanya Haddix, who refers to herself as the Dolly Parton of chimps, spends her days caring for animals in captivity. However, her limitless love for one chimpanzee in particular spins into a wild cat and mouse game with authorities and animal rights group.
PETA.
Yes, PETA. But as you can see, she looked like she was an attractive lady at one point in time. She's an older lady now, obviously.
A lot of work done.
Yes, she looks very fake nowadays.
Yeah.
But this is a very entertaining documentary. It does make me a little sad when they show like all the chimps and how caged up they are, and they just don't look happy.
Right.
But they look happy when they got them Happy Meals from McDonald's.
you
Those
bet they're
chicken
happy.
nugget Happy
You want
Meals.
your nugget? Here's your sauce.
Dude, there's a reason why these are wild animals. Like they can kill you, and I mean it's not just like the documentary is not just about Tanya. So they actually kind of switch back and forth between like 2 other stories.
Yeah, there's one that's more famous that you're more aware of.
And that's the one where the lady was visiting her friend.
Yeah,
and this lady owned a chimp that she pretty much raised as her kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they had a containment area for him.
No, he lived in a house.
Yeah, slept with her at night. And
Because the husband passed and she was like
yeah,
dressing him up in his
depressed.
clothes and yeah.
But she ended up, the chimp, I forget what they did. They like mixed some kind of medicine and like alcohol for the chimp or something.
Yeah, they were doing
It,
something.
it was something crazy like that. But anyways, he ripped the lady's face off and
Jaw, hands.
Yeah, and the poor lady survived. But at that point, wouldn't you, I'd just be like, kill me.
Just put me on my misery.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do it. I mean, that would be tough.
And what it is she had an Elmo doll, but he thought it was his.
Yeah.
And chimps are very possessive.
Yes.
They're close to humans. That's
Yeah.
just what they are.
But yeah, and the lady pretty much called 911 and begged him to put the chimp down. And that they do have footage of it. I mean, you can't really see it 100%. Like you just see the officer's body cam footage, and he's around a corner, and he's like, "I see him. I'm taking the shot," and he goes down. So, but yeah, they put that guy out of his misery, and a lot of people were pissed that.
Oh, that one that came around the corner, that was Buck. That was Buck. The other one for Travis, the guy, like he came up to the door.
But which one was Buck?
Buck was the he attacked the the mother's daughter.
Okay, yeah,
Because
yeah,
she
yeah,
was
yeah.
in the lower floor, which he always lived, but he was
Yes.
upstairs. But they didn't lock the door. He came out, and then he was
Because they interviewed the brother, and he
Yeah.
was like, "And somebody didn't follow protocol."
that motherfucker, dude.
Yeah.
My mom was a hard, tough bitch, but she was my mom.
And you see some of these people, and you're like, "Who lets you buy this animal?" But it's crazy, dude. This Tanya girl, she just blatantly said, like, "Yeah, I can make a shit ton of money every year selling chimps and other exotic animals."
Broker, exotic broker.
Yeah.
But then, like, people are asking for fucking tigers, specific types of monkeys, like birds, anything.
Yeah, they should really just outlaw like private citizens owning.
should.
Like, you got to get some kind of certification to be like an animal caretaker. If it, were up to me making the rules, but I just don't think just because you own a lot of money that you should own an exotic animal. There's a reason why they're wild animals, and they need to be in their habitats and around other animals such as like themselves, so they don't get depressed and stuff like that, and then go crazy and rip somebody's face off.
Well, what it is they get them when they're young, and they're so cute and adorable, but then they grow up and they just.
That's right. Travis was the one that ripped the girl's face off.
Yeah.
It's a little tidbit from Wikipedia. Out of 171 countries, the U.S. is ranked third in ease of purchasing a pet primate online, behind Indonesia and Vietnam.
Yeah, but anyways, the whole documentary, it's mainly about Tanya, and that when they finally get the court order to go in and get the chimpanzees, they get there and one of them's missing, and it's a very famous chimpanzee named Tonka, and he was in a handful of movies.
He was in a movie called Buddy with
what's his face?
Something coming. Alan Cummings.
Alan Cummings, yes. And Alan was real big. He put out a reward because when they go to get the chimpanzees, they're all there but Tonka.
Right.
And then they get a hold of Tanya, and she's like, "Yeah, we had to put him down." And they're like, "Well, where's the body?" She goes, "Well, there is no body. We burned it. It's all ashes now." And
180 degrees.
yeah. And she doesn't understand, like, you can't just burn a body in a fire pit and there not be any bones left or some remnants of the animal or person. And so, it spawns this big, like it says in the thing, cat and mouse game. And it's just a back and forth. Like, there's one part because of COVID, they're on a court hearing via Zoom. And she just does this whole act and starts crying. She's like, "Tonka's dead."
That's when I told you I was laughing out loud. That shit was hilarious.
I mean, it was just
So
too
fake.
much. It was too much. But it's funny. The guy that did this documentary, he knew that she knew who he was, and he couldn't do what he wanted to do. So he hires another guy that's sort of into the primate business or whatever.
Proxy director, basically.
Yeah, he was a fake director.
Yeah.
And this guy befriends her, and that's how stupid she is. She's telling all this stuff, and there's a point where she pretty much gets away with taking Tonka.
Yeah.
And he's like, comforting her and talking to her about the court case, and she's like, "Yeah, he's down here in the basement."
Walks right down.
Walks the film crew right down there. Like, how stupid are you, lady? Like, you got away with it. Don't tell anybody he's there. Just do your thing until
come on down.
Yeah. But she actually hit him in Ohio. There's an animal collector here in Ohio.
Sigh.
I cracked the fuck up because if you're from Ohio, you know about the one animal collector guy that went crazy and let all of his animals loose in Zanesville. And they had to shoot all these beautiful exotic animals because they're running around wild. They didn't want them to, hurt anybody.
Yeah.
But it was so crazy hearing that she went to somebody in Ohio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and the guy was like, I didn't care. I didn't think about jail. I'm thinking about, a person protecting this animal. It's like,
He was getting paid. That's what it was.
yeah, I mean, probably.
Yeah.
But
Well, he had a record anyway, so with the council because he.
he was
spending the
he was a
money.
dirtbag.
Yeah. Piece of shit.
Yeah, he had some village township or something.
Job, yeah.
Yeah,
He was
and
taking their funds.
he was stealing the money and not paying it back. He was like,
buying
I was
shit.
going to pay it back, and then I borrowed another 80 G's or whatever.
He's like, it just kept going.
Yeah, but Chimp Crazy is a really good watch, and I would highly recommend it, especially if you love Tiger King. This one's just as crazy as Tiger King, if not crazier. So, but
Do they keep you in a cage in a basement, Robzilla?
They do. They let me watch
Get back to your
reels on
cake, Bacall.
Instagram and have my own email account.
Get back, Bacall.
Get back in your cage, Robzilla.
Do they give you McDonald's Happy Meals?
They do.
Throw chicken nuggets at you. Like there's a part where she's just dumping the fries into his cage and he's sucking them all up.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, I almost forgot your sauce," and she throws like some sweet and sour sauce in.
He just picks the.
And this guy, this Tonka, he just opens it up and starts dipping his nugget in, and I'm like, my guy.
And that's what the
man of
one,
class.
Yeah, the one chimpanzee, Buck, is that she would take him into town and he would like go into restaurants, eat with him, like set the table and everything, like a human being.
Yeah, it was crazy. So
Let me talk to you.
So would you rather me play that or this for like going into another segment? I mean, we would do the dun dun dun. We could do NFL draft. Like, oh, it's time to move on now.
I like that one.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Or we could just do the Godzilla roar again.
Either worse, just not let me talk to you. Fucking thing.
All right. So moving along, we're going to talk about Rebel Ridge. It is a Netflix exclusive movie. So Mr. PBS was real big about this one, making sure we all watch this.
This was, let me see when his last movie came out. This is from writer-director Jeremy Saulnier.
Yep. Big
It's your
fans of
boy.
his.
And he did Blue Ruin. He did Green Room. He did, actually, his very first movie was called Murder Party.
That's
Kinda
great,
low
too.
budget. That's pretty fun.
I like that one.
And then he did for Netflix
Hold the Dark.
Hold the Dark. When was Hold the Dark?
That was like 18, maybe.
It feels like
I haven't seen Hold the Dark. I remember you telling me about it.
I have to
I thought
watch
you
it
watched
because I
it.
felt
No,
like
I didn't watch
missed
Hold the
it.
Dark.
I did, but I didn't care for it. But I feel like I need to go back and rewatch it.
yeah. So Hold the Dark was 2018. So Murder Party was 07. Blue Ruin was 13. Green Room was 15. Hold the Dark was 18. And this is 24. So it's been like 6 years in between his last movies.
Well, it was. I think I heard it was an interview that was like it's been in like production for 5 years because I guess John Boyega was tied to
He
the
was
movie.
he was originally casted as the main character, and
I heard somebody said he shot for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
something happened and he had to pull out.
Well, there was two that they think he couldn't handle the conditions of the heat, and then there was family issues supposedly.
Yeah,
And then
something led to him bowing out. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
He's British. He couldn't handle the wherever they shot.
Yeah. So Rebel Ridge, a former Marine confronts corruption in a small town when local law enforcement unjustly seizes the bag of cash he needs to post his cousin's bail. But so very interesting plot there.
Yeah. So like I said, I've been looking forward to this for a while. I was like Robzilla said, I wasn't a huge fan of Hold the Dark. Yeah, like I said, it was another Netflix exclusive. It was okay. I need to give it a rewatch and see how I feel about it now. So I've been really looking forward to Rebel Ridge because I like Blue Ruin and Green Room so much.
Yeah.
And like you say, it's about this guy who's going to try to get his cousin out of jail or stop his cousin from going to jail. Because it turns out like his cousin was like an informant or something.
Yeah, he's some kind of narc,
and basically if he goes to jail, they're gonna kill him.
Yeah,
and so he's heading down there to bail out his cousin from this kind of like country jail where he's been arrested for. I don't know if they say what they arrest him for, but basically they kind of take him and they take all of his money through civil forfeiture, which is the same thing that kind of happens to this guy. And the first scene's really good. They really kind of like get the whole thing set up. He gets stopped by the cops. They like knock him off his bike and everything. And that was really kind of crazy just to hit somebody on your bike like that. And the bike's fine and everything.
They literally like drive up right behind him and he's got his headphones in to start the movie and he's sweating. He's pedaling his ass off to get there. And they just drive right up on him, knock him off the bike, and then they get out and start harassing him and all kinds of shit.
I do almost think he gets what he deserves for being a bicyclist with his headphones on all the way.
Yeah.
Maybe he is the villain of the piece.
It's funny. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a great little drama suspense movie, and it has some of the same tones that, you know, like you said, from the other films from this guy that did this movie.
It's very suspenseful.
Yeah,
very well, like a very well structured movie.
Don Johnson was great as the sleazy sheriff. You know, like he was good.
He's always good as a sleazy prick.
I feel like Don Johnson doesn't like, I don't know if he just doesn't try to get roles that, you know, could elevate him, or if he's just happy doing what he's doing. But I feel like he's a little underrated now.
Yeah.
He really, like, he shows up in this. He showed up in Django a few years ago. You know?
Well,
Kind
he
of
was
a fun
in
role.
he was in the first Knives Out, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He
was
played
like
the
Jamie
dad.
Lee Curtis's husband.
Yeah, and he was good in that.
I'm with you 100%. I think he's kind of underrated when he gets these good little roles.
Yeah, Don Johnson was cooking in this this movie. So
Sort of the breakout is the lead, Aaron Pierre.
yeah, he did a good job. Even though, like, I'll say there's some very cheesy dialogue and scenes in parts of this movie, but it panned. You know, it worked. It didn't ruin the experience for me. But when I heard it, I was like, oh my god, come on, who's writing these movies nowadays with some of the dialogue that these people say? It's so cheesy.
It definitely has Reacher vibes.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of said that it's got like a very Reacher kind of setup and everything.
It did feel like a middle story of a Reacher season.
It had felt like Reacher, and I feel like you can go towards it's almost similar to like Triple Frontier. It's more of a suspense movie with a little bit of action, but it's not action driven, I would say.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
but
listen,
still, that's fine.
I would highly recommend watching this. I mean, it's a good movie, and I gave it 3.5 stars on.
I gave it 3.
So, like, it wasn't phenomenal. It was just something that was steady. You didn't get bored through it. It just constantly kept delivering, and it was a decent little movie. And it reminded me of those movies you used to get in Blockbuster, the Blockbuster special movies that were only in Blockbuster.
Right.
This is what it felt like. I've been wanting to watch a movie like this for years now. That's just not a whole lot of star power, but it's just the storytelling is just good and it delivers.
You just see a couple familiar faces, but it's not.
It's there's nobody like gigantic in it. You know?
People have compared it like it kind of unfolds almost like a novel.
Yeah.
And like you say, it kind of goes back like those 90s, like you'd think this would be based off a book kind of thing. And I'm with you. I think we're all like 3.5. A lot of people have been rating it even higher, and I can't quite figure out why I'm not 100% on it. I think it's got something to do with the setup of the movie is very much like, obviously he's this black guy, and I think he's in a southern town.
Yeah.
And he's obviously going up against the cops. And the part of the DNA of the movie is that, like, if you're battling cops, you can't. There's only so much you can do.
Right.
Like if you kill a cop, they're going to put your face on the news or whatever and say, "Oh, there's a cop killer on the loose."
Right.
And that kind of stuff. So he really has to be non-lethal through pretty much the whole movie. And I don't know, something about that just kind of doesn't quite.
And they kind of mention that in one part of the movie, because they're trying to figure out who he is. When he doesn't go away, the cops are like, get on the phone, figure out what this guy is. And they're like, well, he's a former Marine, and I forget the acronym they use.
MOCAP or something.
Yeah, but he specialized in like non-lethal combat or something like that.
Combat.
Yeah. Well, they specifically called out like non-lethal or whatever, because there's one part where he just takes down a militia pretty much through the smoke, and you're like, holy crap, dude, this guy lit it up. But
they even mentioned too, they're like, oh, well, he wasn't deployed, so they think he's just kind of some kind of knockoff ranger or whatever.
Easy, sir.
I'm sorry, Helen.
You apologize to Nancy.
Yeah,
sorry, Nancy.
Give her a little kiss. Tell her you're sorry.
Sorry. I'm sorry about that.
I didn't mean to hit you.
So, but they think he's some kind of just a piece of shit army dude, and then
is he a piece of shit army dude? He never served.
Yeah, so that's when Don Johnson's character's talking to him. He don't really seem anything, and then when the people find out what he does, they're like, "You need to back away from him." And you see that look in a guy like because he's gonna fuck him up.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it was a really solid movie. This is the diamond in the rough you've been looking for on streaming.
I like that it has that core of truth to it, because they talk a lot about civil asset forfeiture. Where, like, basically, if the police stop you and you've got a suspicious amount of money on you, they can say, that's a crime.
They can take it and you'll never get it back.
Yeah, they basically keep.
I remember watching that on like 60 News probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I think we even talked about it at one point on here on some crazy news or something. But yeah, dude, I think the movie hits because, like you said, there's some level of truth to it, and it's something that needs to be addressed. Like, people shouldn't have that kind of money taken away from them, especially if you can prove that it was yours, you know?
like you know, especially if it's super duper hard to get back, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I like that.
I get them confiscating it, but if you can prove it's yours, why do they get to keep it, you know?
Yeah. So I like that it's got that sort of little kernel of truth on it. And I like that. I do like the approach of almost the way things like, you know, he loses the money. He's got to try to get the money back. He's got to try to get to the court, and he kind of does all this stuff. It does make the movie a little long. I wish there'd have been ways to maybe condense it a little bit. Like I said,
could have.
I love that first scene where they kind of set everything up, but then he goes to like the police department and he kind of tells the people in the police department everything that just happened at the traffic stop. And I feel like maybe they could have condensed that down into one scene and worked it out so that it would be fine, and it would have made the movie move at a little better pace. And so, like I said, I like that kernel of truth. I like the structure. Like Jeremy Saulnier really kind of reminds me of like John Carpenter in a way.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how to express it, and it's not. I don't want to say it's simple, but it's not. It's just a very natural way. The way he films it and sets up the structure and all that.
He doesn't
Not forced.
He doesn't try to go all out, and like you said, it's not simple, but there's just something about it where it just keeps you attracted to the movie. And
I don't want to call it efficient either, because you feel like if something's efficient, you're giving up on creativity a little bit.
Right.
And it's just very, it's got that Carpenter vibe for me. So
the guy, I'm a fan of the guy's style. Every movie I've watched has been dynamite.
Did you ever watch Blue Ruin?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I believe PBS and I, or maybe you and I watched it one time.
Maybe. I can't
I
remember.
know.
I just remember if you watched it.
I know I watched it with one of you two. I watched Green Room with you, and I think I might have watched Blue Room with you.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Murder Party?
No.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a cool movie.
So yeah, I'm like I said, just something about it kind of keeps me from being like the full-throated 4-star. There is a part where he doesn't kill somebody, but he does break somebody's arm pretty gnarly, and I was finally like, yes.
Brutalize him.
There is a point toward the end where like one of the crooked cops is like hanging on the side of his car, and I'm just like, just run him into another car, or
Right.
a tree or something. It's gonna be like, just kill one guy for me, just
Yeah.
one.
That's his fault. He didn't let go of the car.
Yeah. So
But
just-
I think there's one part too. It kind of leaves it open. I'm curious about a relationship with Mr. Lou, because it's kind of like, oh, God, could you wire me the money? Oh yeah, well, no problem. It's kind of like, what's their relationship?
Kind of like
about?
John Wickish. in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah. So I'm curious, like, is he like does something for him or what?
I like that part where like Mr. Lou was a battlefield medic in Korea.
Yeah,
thank you for your service.
He
Like
served.
he's Chinese. He was on the other side.
They didn't really explain the whole connection there.
Yeah.
You just kind of had to assume that these guys have been through some shit together.
Yeah.
So
I like that. I like that they don't explain it too much.
Yeah.
very solid movie though.
Yeah, I
Very
like that.
solid movie.
I wish I was a full-throated 4-star on this. I just gave it 3.5, but definitely people should check it out.
You know, I think the reason why I didn't give it 4 stars was because of that cheesy dialogue at the beginning of the movie. That really just did it in for me as far as like cementing it as a great, phenomenal movie. But yeah, definitely check out Rebel Ridge on Netflix.
Definitely gets the thumbs up.
It does, man. But
You know what you should have played there? You should have played Deo.
should have. But it is now time for our final segment of this show. And we're going to talk about Beetlejuice Beetlejuice.
Don't say it.
This is the highly anticipated sequel. How many years later from the original?
36 or something.
Yeah, I think it was what year did the original one come out? Like 87?
I thought it was like,
Maybe 89?
Somewhere around there.
Producer, get on your phone and look it up.
Got it.
We need to get you a tablet. That way you can just have it here on the table. And
You need to get him something attached to.
1988.
88?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to get him something like attached to the TV, so you can like you can do like John Madden used to do. You know.
Yeah, draw on the screen. That would be
here's
cool.
The date right here. We got the runtime down here, and if we
The
move
running back should have made a right turn there. Then
All right,
left
here's the
tackle.
year for the release date. Boom, 1988.
that'd be
And
good.
boom goes the
we
dynamite.
got to work on that. That'd be
Yeah, that would be cool.
It'll keep him engaged with the whole segment.
And do we really need to read the synopsis for this? I mean, I guess I can. The ghost with the most is back. After a family tragedy, 3 generations of the Dietz family return home to Winter River. Still haunted by Beetlejuice, Lydia's life is turned upside down when her teenage daughter, Astrid, accidentally opens the portal to the afterlife. But listen, I'm just going to say it right now. I gave this 4 stars. I had a lot of fun watching this in the theaters, and I might actually, I know PBS is going to smack me for this. I might actually enjoy it a little bit more than I enjoy the first one.
Because you're stupid.
No.
God,
and listen,
so mean.
like the
You're
first
an
one,
obese piece of yet.
Jesus Christ.
You're being really obnoxious right now. Yeah, buddy, I've had it out for your ass ever since I saw that you rated Beetlejuice 4 stars and only gave the original 3.5.
Yeah, well, and I watched the original before I watched this one.
Yeah, were you high while you were doing it, you fucking druggie?
Maybe.
I mean, I wouldn't blame you, but it's like, how else are you going to watch Beetlejuice?
Yeah, and listen, I'm not saying that Beetlejuice isn't a great movie. It's a staple of my childhood. I love Beetlejuice. But, rewatching it as an adult, I really had some issues with Lydia's character, man. She's such a crybaby in that first one.
She's a teenager, sir.
Oh, my God.
She's a gothy teenager.
I think we were all teenagers here, and we didn't dream about death and all this other bullshit that she cries about in that first one.
You obviously didn't have a teenage goth face. So.
No, I didn't. I did not. But I really enjoyed this one. I'm not Tim Burton's biggest fan. I mean, I love the movies that I love from Tim Burton. I fucking love. Yeah. But Beetlejuice, just, it was really fun. And I mean, the moments that were funny, I was cracking up over. Like, there's a couple scenes where they're like singing the songs and stuff, and that cracked me up.
There's one which he's playing a guitar, which is really funny.
The cast is all really good. Michael Keaton just doesn't look like he missed a step as Beetlejuice. Like, it looks like he's been doing it all these years. And Catherine O'Hara,
she killed it.
Catherine O'Hara really steals the show in this movie.
I just kept thinking of her character from Schitt's Creek.
Yeah,
David.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not far of a departure from that character and this character. I liked how they kind of, obviously they couldn't put the dad in this one because he's a pedophile.
Well,
he's dead.
He's not a pedophile. Not to split hairs.
He's a pedophile
because Jeffrey Jones.
He's a pedophile.
Jones, yeah.
He, the thing I like Jeffrey Jones as an actor.
Yeah, he's a fine actor.
The principal in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Obviously, the dad in Beetlejuice.
He's the bad guy in Howard the Duck.
Yep. Okay, I didn't know that. He's in. We talked about a little bit. Hunt for Red October with James Earl Jones. He's got a small part in that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He was the newspaper guy in Deadwood.
Oh yeah. He was.
As an actor, I kind of really like him, but unfortunately, he likes taking pictures of little boys
and requesting things.
Well, that's like I say, not to split hairs. I don't think he did anything like physically. But he did request pictures and all that stuff. So like I said, I don't want to split hairs.
So was he a pedophile at heart? I mean,
well, there's always that argument of does some stuff keep them from actually doing other stuff and all that? It's a little. Above,
I get what you're saying.
It's above our pay grade. Still not cool, not legal. Blah blah blah.
He's the Mike Davis of actors.
So it is definitely.
Mike Davis got busted. He's the local weatherman. He was the local weatherman here for years in Columbus, and he got busted with like 40,000 pictures. I mean, I'm probably lowballing it when I say 40,000. And his thing in
40,000 is a lowball, right?
Yeah, yeah. Bad. But when he had his trial, he was like, I've never done anything to kids. I'm just obsessive with these pictures, and it's like, you're obsessive pedophile. That's what you are. Yeah.
So again, I don't want to split hairs too much, but definitely not cool. Not cool. But it was definitely a reason for him to not be in this film.
It was cool how they did them. They kind of explained why he was. They made a reason up for him not being in the movie, but they did it claymation style, and I thought that was really cool.
Other people have mentioned for not wanting him in the movie, they do show his face quite a lot.
Yeah,
which was really kind of odd.
Well, he's still resembles.
I'm thinking, like, gosh, they've had him in this movie so much. Maybe they should have just had him for real. Like, just get rid of his picture. Just don't show it.
He does get eaten by a shark.
He does get eaten by a shark.
Spoilers. But
he does not have a face in the afterlife.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. I thought everybody was good in this. Catherine O'Hara, like I said, steals the show. Michael Keaton is great, and it's funny. It felt like there was a lot more Beetlejuice in this than the first one, even though it's like 17 minutes that he's actually on screen or whatever. And I know a lot of people complained because they wanted Monica Bellucci to be more of an antagonist than what she was in this.
That's what's portrayed as. Like,
yeah, but she's not the real villain.
Right, but
she's not the real villain.
Portrayed at the beginning like, oh, she's gonna be the big bad, antagonist, and then it's kind of like just falls off. That's the problem I have.
But I really had fun watching this. I love the sets they did, the vision that he had for the underworld, and a couple of the actors that they had in the underworld, like the Danny DeVito scene was great. William Dafoe was awesome in this. If you didn't laugh at William Dafoe, are you human? Yeah. He plays like a former like leading actor that died on a set or something.
Hand grenade, a real live hand grenade. He did his own stunts.
Yeah, did his own stunts, and he ends up being the what was he, like a commissioner or something,
detective or something
of the underworld police force or whatever. But he was really solid in this, and
he was funny.
Yeah, he was good. And I just thought it was, for them being away from this movie for so long and to pick up 30 years later and just write a script for this and it to be as good, if not better than the first one, is a very good accomplishment. And I've thought Tim Burton's washed for a long time now, but he made a banger, I thought. So that's just my opinion. We all receive the cinema in different ways, and I'm sure Mr. PBS is about to shit on me now.
I was kind of hoping movie Brock would have been here because he also gave this movie a 4 stars, and I wanted to kind of berate you both in person.
Oh man!
And you know that the GIF of Kevin Sorbo from Hercules where he's like saying "disappointed"?
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it was like a stage direction, but he actually said it. But if I were doing my reaction to this film, my GIF would be frustration because I wanted to like this movie a lot. I only gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd. I couldn't even give it the 3.5 kind of pass that I really.
I think you just don't want it to be better than the first one.
I mean, it's not going to be better than the first one. It's not.
Even it doesn't matter. Even if it is universally is, you would not agree that it is better than the first one. You would be that guy that stands against the force of nature.
No. If it was better, I'd say it was better.
No, you wouldn't. You hold the first one so dear that nothing's ever going to touch it.
I do not. We talked about our 15 favorite movies or whatever a little while ago, and Tim Burton's Batman was in like my top 5 or 10 or whatever. And while that's more of a foundational movie than Beetlejuice was like a childhood staple. It was one of those movies you could just put on any time, and watch the whole thing. My dad even like Beetlejuice jokes and all that. So yeah, I do have a foundational love for the first Beetlejuice, which is better than this Beetlejuice. They did the easiest way for me to describe it actually is I feel the same way about this as I did about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It was a movie where they tried to cram too much into one movie. Like this, and the movie's worse for it. I remember looking up the runtime right after this, thinking it was going to be maybe a 2-hour movie, but it wasn't. It's only like an hour and 45 or something. It's only like 12 minutes longer than the original Beetlejuice, but it felt longer.
Yeah, it felt way longer than what it was.
And it was just too much. Like you said, Michael Keaton's kind of the highlight. Just having him back as Beetlejuice is great. I've still got my Winona Ryder crush, so I'm glad she was back.
Winona Ryder still looks fine as hell.
Yeah. And I love Catherine O'Hara. She's the mom in Home Alone. I do think her character was a little over the top. Like even when you look back at the first movie, it's like she's supposed to be kind of like an artsy fartsy, almost phony. Like the one character calls her a flake at one time. And so I do think there are moments where her character is a little over the top, but she's great in it. Justin Theroux's character,
he's such a piece of shit.
They could have cut him from the whole movie. He didn't do anything for me. I didn't think he was funny. And if they just
who was he again?
He was
Rory. He was
the husband.
The
guy who wanted to marry her
Fiancé,
agent and all that.
Oh yeah.
Like I get what they were doing with that, but I didn't need. They could have got rid of that whole character and did some other stuff. Like you said, the Monica Bellucci, she was fine, but it either needed to be more about her or like less about her in a way. And I think my problem is I think they really should have focused on Jenna Ortega's storyline. she meets the boy back in her hometown, and it's Halloween it's in the movie it's Connecticut, in real life it's Vermont. Like, how are you not going to show me some Halloween in Vermont with some nice fall trees and all that? That should have been like sort of the focus of the movie. Mm-hmm. I think they could have cut out Jeffrey Jones. They could have cut out his death a little bit, and her dad in the movie has also died. So like I feel like they could have just like started the movie back there at the house and be like they've been dead for a little while and they're just kind of like back to clean out the house or something. And there's just too much. Like I say, even like Willem Dafoe, who's like funny in every scene, like they could have had less of him in a way. We didn't talk about Bob yet.
I wanted more Bob.
Bob is like my favorite new character in the whole movie. He gets the striped Beetlejuice suit on. He's Shrunken Head Bob with all the other shrunken heads.
I love Bob.
Okay, get back to work.
And I like there's a part in the movie where they make it out to the mortal world or whatever. They raise a little havoc. And there's a part where like Willem Dafoe assembles like a team of dead cops. They're all like the highway patrol, like Chips looking people.
Yeah.
I was hoping like in the climax, like they'd all meet, like the Shrunken Head Bobs would fight the Chips officers or whatever. And they did Bob dirty. That's all I'll say.
Yep,
they did Bob dirty.
They did.
And like I said, it's just
without spoilers here. Keep going.
It is just too much. Like I've wanted to like this so bad. And I did enjoy it. Like, I'm not like, oh, this is a terrible movie.
I think, I didn't expect it to be as good as I left. If, when I left, I really loved it. And I just didn't expect to have that outcome. Mm-hmm. And so I guess it's just two polar opposite expectations and results afterwards.
You could just say, I'm right and you're wrong.
No,
that's a polar opposite.
I just think that anything that touches something that you love dearly, you don't want anything to do with.
No, I'd have been fine. I wish it was better. I really do. Like, just like the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, like, I wish it had been a little better.
Yeah, that one, Ghostbusters just didn't. That last Ghostbusters, it was good, but it didn't deliver the expectations.
Too much. It was doing like you look. I rewatched.
I saw a lot of people hating on it because the sandworm was CGI and not like.
So what?
I thought the sandworm was practical.
It looked just like
I heard somebody complaining about it. Like,
really?
Yeah, I don't know.
The thing is, it's so hard anymore. I think to tell whether something, in some ways. Some things are harder to tell if they are practical or CGI.
Right.
And maybe it's because we just expect certain things to be CGI. We don't appreciate when it is physical.
Rob, you've been listening to us praise and bitch about it. What did you think? You might be the tiebreaker here.
So I liked it more than PBS, but less than yours. So I gave it 3.5. So
okay.
For what it is, I think it's done well for a movie that's a sequel that's over 30 years.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that we had more time with Beetlejuice with the story. I enjoyed all the characters. Like mentioned, Catherine O'Hara killed it. Over the top, but still.
Make sure you're talking into that mic.
And then the thing that got me is, I think with Mr. P, you asked about Monica Bellucci's character. Like they set her up to be like this, badass soul-sucking witch, and then it's kind of like fades away. Like it's kind of non-existent with her character. And it's kind of like, what's the point?
She's kind of like a misdirection, kind of cannon fodder character,
Yeah, it's like, well, it's going to sprinkle in here and just.
She's Tim Burton's girlfriend, so.
Oh,
is she really?
Yeah,
good for Tim Burton. That's a catch.
And then,
I've always had a crush on Monica Bellucci.
Well, she was in The Matrix 2, I believe. Yeah, she was like.
What she was in that? What was the Clive? The shoot 'em up movie?
Shoot 'em up.
Was it Shoot 'em Up?
Yeah, Shoot 'em Up. Yeah.
Okay. She played like a mom.
Well,
she was a hooker that, tended to people that like to drink breast milk.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll forever remember her as.
Paul Giamatti killed in that movie too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Great movie.
So I would say that, but I hated there's an ending scene musical, which I didn't feel like it was needed. It was just so fucking stupid in my opinion.
About the wedding musical?
Yeah. It went on for too long.
I do think it went on for too long.
I'm like, really? But that's the only one I didn't like musically about it. I just like
I don't even really remember disliking that. And normally I hate shit where people sing and move, what I mean?
I was sitting there, I'm like, I don't.
Well, part of my complaint is I went back right after I saw that and went home and I watched Beetlejuice that night while I ate dinner, and it was just it showed how much more like simpler and economical it was, and even like you say, like the Day-O dinner scene in that one, it's just them singing like a really simple song and dancing around the table. Whereas in this one, it's a big like effects thing, and they're floating up in the air, and everybody's doing it. And it's while it's fun, it's also kind of overdone, like a lot of other things in the movie.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was.
I hope we can get like your opinion and send it to Tim Burton and see if he sends us a video back. Like, shut up.
This is literally the first Tim Burton movie I've watched in like 20 years. So that alone tells you how much I wanted to go back and see Beetlejuice and be back in that world again.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love Jenna Ortega's character as Astrid and her story, and I could have been the main focal point with that. But
I'm kind of tired of Jenna Ortega. Like, she's just popping up in too many things now.
She's getting overhyped.
Yeah. And, I mean, she's this. Dare I say that she doesn't have a whole lot of range? Like, it seems like she's
playing the same character.
She's the same smart aleck character and everything, and it's kind of getting old to me. Like, she's the Vince Vaughn of her generation now.
Well, I mean, like, plus she did Wednesday. She's doing season 2 Wednesday, which is Tim Burton, and then she's doing this follow up. So
she's in the zone.
Like, now, that being said, I didn't dislike her in this. I mean, I thought she was all right, and but she didn't do anything that made the movie over the top for me. I mean, Catherine O'Hara is probably the main reason why I like the movie. Her and Keaton.
Yeah, I mean, those two, yeah.
Michael Keaton had some great lines, man.
Oh, yeah.
But, okay, so we have, you gave it a 3. I gave it a 4.
3.5.
You gave it a 3.5. So definitely see this. And if you're not a Beetlejuice fan or have never seen Beetlejuice, what are you waiting for? Get on Max, watch it, and then go see this at the movie theaters. Well, it'll probably be on demand by the time you hear our review, but
it'll be a little while on.
Yeah,
especially I think it's making some good money.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I know it did well the first week or whatever.
I think it did above expectations. I could be wrong. I haven't looked at it lately, but
well, I could go to hold on here, Box Office Mojo. We'll do Beetlejuice.
So far at 264 million worldwide, I believe.
You believe? Yes. 264,306,000 worldwide. Domestically, it made $188 million. Internationally, it made $76 million. I wonder if they're not allowed to watch movies about playful demons in other countries. Domestic opening, it opened to 111 million. So that's
if you get over that 100 million,
that's dynamite right there. And I got to imagine the budget wasn't extremely high.
Right.
So
wasn't Marvel's budget here?
No. That's the thing. They don't tell you these budgets anymore. And
I usually look it up on Wikipedia. Wikipedia usually has some info, however accurate it is or not.
But okay, here's the thing. If you haven't seen Beetlejuice and you don't want any more spoilers slipping out and ruining the movie for you, now is your time to tune off. You ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we can spoil everything.
Okay.
But they totally fucked Bob over killing him.
Oh my God.
100%.
I was so sad.
A part of me wants to hope that we get like a sequel or, the trilogy and Bob somehow like floats out of the dust and reappears somewhere,
If there's another movie, they have to bring Bob back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you think that they're up for another movie? I mean, I feel like...
Well, the way it kind of ends...
I feel like they got to do another one now, especially how well received this one was.
Well, it kind of fits in, saying Beetlejuice names 3 times. I feel like that's valid, but I'm not sure what they would go with.
It just makes sense to make a third one.
Yeah.
Again, and the same thing kind of with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Like, I feel like they should have just planned the next movie, just shot them back to back or something.
Yeah.
Like,
that would have been...
I get that maybe, obviously Ghostbusters had what was the other Ghostbusters? Afterlife. And that was successful. So they knew they were successful. And Beetlejuice is, like you say, pushing 40 years old. So maybe they were a little hesitant still. Like, oh, maybe people aren't going to want to come back to this.
I like that they gave Beetlejuice a gut in this movie.
Yeah.
Like he's out of shape now and he's just dealing with work and reading the paper at work. And he still had the 4x6 picture, or was it an 8x10 picture of Lydia? Was she in the wedding gown that they had?
I think it was just her in like one of her outfits from the first movie.
Yeah. But
I wish he's another one. They overdid him just a hair, like especially going back to watching the first movie. Even though, like I say, again, he's still like one of the highlights. Just to have Keaton back in that role, he slipped right back into it.
He really just nailed it, man. But one of the funniest parts that I laughed at was when they're trying to get out of they're trying to stop the boy that the antagonist, the true antagonist that steals away Astrid's life presence or whatever, and he goes to get the passport stamped, and it's Beetlejuice, and he's like, "See you later, fucker."
I believe it was Dostoevsky who said, "Later, fucker."
Yeah,
that's the one F-bomb in the movie. There is another F-bomb, but they bleep it out. But that was maybe the only like super duper laugh out loud moment for me. That was sort of my problem with.
You didn't laugh at the songs though. I mean, my God, they were hilarious.
That was funny. The Brian Adams or not Brian Adams, Richard Marx, was it Richard Marx?
Yeah, Richard Marx. Yeah,
that was funny, but it wasn't like laugh out like the later fucker was.
That was great. It was definitely the shining moment of that movie. I thought
it's kind of out of the blue. Like I had to really laugh at that one.
How did you feel about Lydia being like a talk show host? Horror, what did they call that?
Again, like I wish they'd have started back at the house and maybe just alluded to her doing that.
Yeah,
and I meant to say it during the non-spoiler part. This has another thing I don't like about these later sequels. It's the same thing they did to Indiana Jones. They made his life kind of crap.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it have been enough to have been like, yeah, she's a horror host and her husband dead and her father died recently. Like, she could have had an okay life and just been unhappy at the moment. She didn't have to be like on the pill.
And she didn't even know her father was dying. She got the news pretty late.
Right. So,
oh yeah, your father died.
Yeah. So that's something else. Like, if we have to make our characters totally miserable, they could be just a little miserable.
I did lose it though with his headstone was a shark fin.
Shark
I don't
fin,
know why that was so fucking funny to me. I was just like, I was laughing. There was like one other person laughing with me. And that
was definitely funny.
She's like, is that funny? I said, it's fucking hilarious.
I love where he's like walking around down in the underworld, and it's just this giant like torso with like a shark
balls in there.
like a shark ball or a shark bite, coming off the top.
Yeah,
like there's no head or anything, and then
when he's talking, he's spitting blood.
Every time he's like going to talk, like the heart's pumping blood out or whatever. Like that was cool. I like that.
And that's one of those things like you said, it was cool, but it was totally unnecessary for most of it. Like there's the scene where he walks into the laundromat,
but they wrapped it all up towards the end, and she finds him in the underworld, and they're happily ever after.
And again,
And I like the way that they wrote out the original ghost, because there was no reason for them to be in this one.
What the thing is, like they said, they found a loophole.
Yeah, she just said they moved.
I thought that was really dumb.
I don't think they needed to mention that, or at least explain.
Well, they had to, because people are going to be like, well, where did they go if they're ghosts and they're trapped in the house?
Well, that's my problem.
They moved on.
If they're gonna, and I wish they'd have found a decent way to do that. Like, oh yeah, they took part of the house with them or something.
They could have done like a claymation story on that instead of the parents.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I'll give you that.
I get it, like they're older and they can't look older yet, whatever.
Yeah.
But like they could have done an animated thing where they found the loophole and just show us what it was. Like I think that would have been cool.
Maybe Tim's got something against Alec Baldwin for firing the shot.
Yeah, could be. He's kind of. Again, I don't know if they're gonna have Jeffrey Jones in it. They can Alec Baldwin would have been okay. And that was another one. I just don't. I think that it rubbed a lot of people wrong. It's like, oh, it's a loophole.
I felt like
maybe they're saving them for the third one somehow.
It would have been like
if they make it,
maybe just not even mention it. They're there.
That too.
But I'm sure people would have complained if they didn't mention it at all.
I'm still sad about Bob though. Like I want to get one of like a. You remember how people used to get T-shirts like airbrushed?
Yeah.
When somebody died, like I want to get like "Rest in Peace" and have Bob on there.
Yeah.
Like that shit would be hilarious.
I like how they did like it hit memory of Bob.
Yeah.
I was like, she ain't gonna kill Bob, is she?
Oh, she waxed Bob.
But see, like that's like her storyline of like chasing after Beetlejuice. I feel like they could have cut most of it out. They could have just said she was doing it and not shown her, or had her be more of the villain in a way.
I like the Beetlejuice like flashbacks and all that. That was cool.
Oddly enough, I didn't care for that too much.
You didn't like him like running around with it, being a piece of shit dude with a little gut.
Yeah, it's like I like it. I know I can see why Tim Burton left it in, but I kind of wish he hadn't. I wish he did. Like I said, it would have been so much better if it had been a little more streamlined. Like again, watching the first Beetlejuice, it's just very simple. Most of it is about them dying and crossing to the afterlife and just kind of getting Beetlejuice. And there's so much like creativity in that movie that when you think about it, you think it must have been packed of stuff, but it wasn't quite that way. And and like I said again, that's sort of the opposite for this one. It is packed with stuff, but you really kind of start to feel the weight of it. And like I said, we haven't even mentioned yet the ghost boyfriend storyline.
Yeah,
where it kind of.
I don't know how I
doesn't
feel
really go anywhere.
Yeah,
them saying her inheriting the gifts and all that. Like I was just kind of like, yeah.
And even in the first one, they say in the first one, people usually won't see the dead. Not that they can't or don't or whatever. They usually don't. Not that they won't or whatever. And so I wish they'd have done some more with that. Like I said, I feel like that should have been kind of like the main thrust of the movie was like her meeting him and like some sort of like trick or treat, Halloween themed thing with the other stuff going around it.
At some like teenage party or something. That would have been cool.
Something
a Halloween party.
Just like the way that Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin were kind of the heart of the first movie. Maybe it should have been them.
Yeah.
And then if they were going to do the Monica Bellucci thing, maybe they shouldn't have had him be a bad guy too. Maybe it should have been a little something else. And like I said, it's just too much for me. Too much of everything, and that it's kind of like throwing too many darts to the thing.
And for some reason, it wasn't for me. And I get your point because I'm like that with a lot of movies. And like you mentioned before, like sometimes a lot is just distracting and takes away from the movie. But I don't know. I'm maintaining my defense. I just had so much fun watching it. I loved it, man.
I was just more surprised that I liked it as much as I did because I was kind of worried.
And I like how they did the underworld, you know, like the sets and all that were just so great and they looked fun. And like, I just had fun watching it.
And it looked really good and practical too. Like it just, you knew you were watching Tim Burton.
I'm just glad I didn't watch it with you and you ruined the vibe for me.
Well, I was kind of curious too, like with, the kid, like, oh, he killed his parents. Why he killed his parents? Does he want to come back and start killing people? Is that his
Figures
motive?
that's why you would.
So.
Because he hated his parents. That's why.
Boo-hoo.
That happens sometimes. People hate their parents and they kill them. It is what it is.
Well, it was back in the 90s, apparently, because that's what he said. He's in the 90s, so.
Maybe they told him he was too fat or something.
You're a loser.
You're obnoxious.
Go hang out your treehouse, pussy.
All right, so.
Yeah, like I said, I wish. Frustration. That's my main frustration.
His blood is boiling.
We all have different interpretations of Beetlejuice. But did you at least like it?
Yeah. I had fun with it. Like I said,
none of us here hate it, but PBS isn't as big as we are. So, and Rob's a little bit underneath me.
Like same thing with Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. Like I want to like this so much, and it's so close. Like it's so close to being a better movie for me.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire had way too many people in it, though. way too many.
It's really hard to follow up after Afterlife, how well that was good, how well done that was.
So that is all for this episode of the Sleazy Podcast. As always, remember to like, subscribe, interact with us on social media, but definitely on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. That helps us get back into the algorithm and ultimately gets more people to listen. More interaction. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for you to tell us if you disagree with us or if you think we're boring and we need to work on something, which we've had people tell us that, but they don't really have any good quality material out there. So I take that with a grain of salt. But we should be back in 2 weeks, hopefully. Hopefully, I don't think we have anything going on, but we are preparing for spooky season. It is here. It's among us. I watched Salem last night. It's pretty decent.
I'm trying to go.
Salem's Lot.
I'm trying to hold off on the horror movies because I'm waiting for October, but I did watch quite a few this past week. So I finally got to see In a Violent Nature.
Yeah, we were wondering what you were up to, and PBS was going through your thing last night at dinner.
Logging 4 movies in one day.
Yeah, I was on a roll.
Did you move off the couch yesterday?
Fuck, no, I did not. Wait. Yeah, I did in the evening. I went to dinner with the family and then
to take a shit.
That too, and then went to see Beetlejuice.
No, I wore a diaper for that.
Dude, I'm telling you, when you walk into Rob's living room, you can tell where this dude sits.
It's my spot.
Like there's an indentation in the couch of his ass.
Oh, by the way, so you should really watch this shitty movie called The Deliverance on Netflix.
Oh, it's terrible. I meant to put that on the board, but
I'll sum it up for you. Imagine if Tyler Perry made a shitty possession movie. Exactly what the fuck it is.
It just wasn't good. I laughed every time that they put Glenn Close on camera. I mean, I just felt like she was some lady that around town here, that was constantly
Banging dudes.
seducing her way into her next month's rent, you know.
Her chemotherapy is what she was doing.
Yeah,
that for.
yeah. And Omar Epps, man. Omar, you're better than playing in a movie like this.
I was like, is that fucking Omar?
Omar
Epps?
used to play in good shit. Now he's in this movie. I feel so bad.
That little motherfucker don't love you.
Yeah.
I did laugh at that super hard.
I can smell your stinky, your nappy pussy.
I'm like, is that really needed, Glenn Close?
Yeah. Why
What are
did
we
they
here?
even have her right there? It just wasn't needed.
Man, the fucking mother, man.
That movie was shit.
I hated, like, that was like the worst protagonist ever because I fucking hated that woman. She sucked.
Yeah. But that's all we have. As always, keep it sleazy.
Later,
And-
fuckers.
Yeah, later, fuckers.
Thanks for listening to the Sleazy Podcast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and remember, listen to Sleazy.